And so we're going to start with our nucleus. And here are the presynaptic knobs, the presynaptic terminals, the dendrites, the axon hillock there. Of course, we have our nucleus there and the Golgi complex or apparatus, smooth endoplasmic reticulum or the mitochondria, our lysosomes, and the Nissl bodies. Remember, the rough ER is compartmentalized into Nissl bodies, NISSL. Then we, of course, have the axon with the mitochondria in here. And this is endoneurium, which is going to be surrounding our Schwann cells and the axon. This is the neurolemma of the Schwann cells and the nucleus of the Schwann cells. And this is the myelin sheath over there. And the nodes of Ranvier right here and here. So that's all there is on the neuron. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward there. Okay. And so let's go to our spinal cord, and we have a few different models there. We have to know, and there are more parts, but these are the parts we have to know. We have to know the spinal nerve, right? We have the dorsal and ventral root. We have the dorsal root ganglion. And then we have our dorsal horns, ventral horns, lateral horns, gray commissure, and the dot in the middle is the central canal. So that's what we have on this model. Now, this model is more extensive. Here we have meninges also. And of course, we have our spinal nerve. We have our dorsal root ganglion. We have the dorsal and ventral root there. We have the blue here represents the dura mater, which in reality is not really blue, I'm sure. If you look at the inside of the body, it's pretty boring as far as colors are concerned. Whoever designed it had no imagination, so I can say. And then we have our dorsal horns, our ventral horns, our lateral horns, great commissure, and the central canal right over there. Our denticular ligament. Here is the arachnoid mater, and that's the subarachnoid space, and the pia mater. I'm not going to ask because you can't see it. So that is on this model. Then we have a cross section of the cervical spine at C5. And you know, cervical spine, of course, we have our transverse foramen there. And again, the gray is our dura mater there. This is the epidural space, which will not be on the test, but it's there anyway. This is basically our dorsal root ganglion. Here we have our subarachnoid space there. We have the dorsal horns, ventral horns. There's no lateral horns because there aren't any lateral horns in the cervical spine. We have the great commissure and the central canal. And this is the ventral root and the dorsal root there. And again, the spinal nerves are here and here. And of course, over here and here, it's also dura mater too. Goes as far as the spinal nerves. That's how far it goes. And that's what we have on this model. So that's all we have for the spinal cord. Because it does have a pituitary, which is right over here. And look at right over here, we have our pyramids of the medulla there. Of course, these are the cerebellum, the little brains there. Here's your pons over here. This would be on here and here. Would be the temporal lobe, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe. And the raised areas are the gyri or gyrocingula, and the shallow depressions of the sulci or sulcus cingula. Here's our brain and drugs. Here is the longitudinal fissure there. Let's go ahead and separate this. Okay. So, what do we have here? We have a corpus callosum, lateral ventricle. We have the third ventricle. Here's the pineal body, a pineal gland. And the space above the third ventricle is our, this is the thalamus. Sorry about that. And the space above the thalamus is the third ventricle. We have a cerebral aqueduct. This over here is our midbrain, or if you want to call it mesencephalon, you can. The midbrain is easier to spell. Again, our pituitary, our pons, and the medulla. And this again is the cerebellum. So that's what we have on the brain. Not that much.
So we don't need to know where the cranial nerves are or anything like that in the brain?
I'm not going to, you might need to know them, but I'm not going to ask.
Okay.
Of course, this is the sclera. The cornea is on the outside. Students mix up the cornea and the lens all the time. Cornea is external, lens is internal. Okay, then we have our nothing over here.
What was that?
There's nothing over here.
Oh.
Okay, there's a gray model there. And so we have our superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial and lateral, superior oblique, and the inferior oblique is over here. This would be the vitreous humor, posterior cavity of segment, and the lens. Take this apart, that would be the iris. Get it back together again.
What was this called?
The vitreous humor. Okay, the retina, ora serrata. And brown is a choroid, but it's so thin, I couldn't really ask you what it is on this model. Then we have a model that requires a lot of reconstruction, which is this one here. Here. And of course our cornea, sclera. This is the choroid over here. Superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral, medial, superior oblique, and the inferior oblique over here, which always comes immediately. See how intact this model is. Okay, this obviously is going to be our iris there. We have a lens over here, vitreous humor there. Optic disc, optic nerve, retina. This is our macula lutea.
Where's the optic disc?
Right over here. Well, half of it, at least.
So this is supposed to be portraying that fluid, the vitreous fluid,
Yeah,
vitreous humor.
humor. And that's supposed to be the, probably the ciliary muscles, ciliary processes, I would imagine. So we have a better model for that. Here we have our cornea, sclera, superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial, lateral, superior oblique, and the inferior oblique. You can see the choroid over here, but you can see it internally too. This would be the optic nerve. Let's go ahead and separate these two halves. Hemispheres. Our iris there, the lens. Posterior cavity of segment, again the choroid, the retina, the ora serrata, ciliary processes, these purple squiggles there, ciliary muscles, the canal of Schlemm, the optic nerve, and this yellow is the optic disc. The darker orange oval is fovea centralis, and the raised area around there is the macula lutea. So that's what we have on this model over here. Then we have 3 ear models, external auditory canal and the auditory tube. Don't mix up the canal and the tube, please. Right. Tympanic membrane. Here is our malleus, which is physically attached to the tympanic membrane. Next to that is our incus, the point off the end over there. And even though the stapes is part of the middle ear, it's molded onto the inner ear over here. Semicircular canals. This would be our cochlea over there. And that's it for this model. Okay. Then we have this model over here. Again, we have a cochlea over here. Now, inside the vestibule, we have the utricle and sacula. Think of U.S. like United States. Semicircular canals, the ampulla here, and ampulla here. So that's what we have on this model over here.
What were the name of those gray things?
Utricle and sacula.
this have a different name? This little thing hanging off?
Yes, it's the endolymph. It's the endolymph organ, because it's going to make the endolymph for the endolymph, but it's not on the test. But it has a name.
What is this?
Here we have a cross section of our cochlea there. Scala vestibuli, scala tympani, the cochlear duct, if you want to keep it consistent with the other scalas, scala media. We have the tectorial membrane, and then we have the organ of Corti, which is all of this. And that's what we have on this model. And that's it for the test.